friends, chew on this nugget. Ephesians 4, 23. And that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind. And 24. And put on the new self, which in the likeness of God has been created in righteousness and holiness of the truth. And that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind. And that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind. And put on the new self, which in the likeness of God has been created in righteousness and holiness of the truth. In righteousness and holiness of the truth. And that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind. And put on the new self, created to be, or which is in the likeness of God, has been created in righteousness and holiness of the truth. Or created to be like God in righteousness and holiness. Created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. And that you put on the new self, which in the likeness of God has been created in true righteousness, or in righteousness and holiness of the truth. And that you be renewed, and that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and put on, and put on, and put on, and put on the new self, which in the likeness of God has been created in righteousness and holiness of truth. And that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, in the spirit of your mind, and that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and to put on the new self, created, if you will, to be like God in true righteousness and holiness, to be like God in true righteousness and holiness, and that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. Created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. And put on the new self. Put on the new self. Hey friends, you know that you and I are a new self. That we are a new creation. That our old self was crucified with Christ. Was buried with him through baptism into death. In order that just as Christ was raised from the dead, we too may live a new life. Have a new self. Our new self, I am crucified. You are crucified with Christ. We were crucified with Christ. We no longer live, but Christ lives in us. Christ is our new self. We are now Christ in us. We are not separated from Christ. Christ himself is our life. I have been crucified with Christ. I am crucified with Christ. I, ego, self, no longer lives, but Christ's ego, self, is in us. We are in union with that true self. And as we begin to be renewed in the spirit of our mind, we begin to put on what already is. In other words, we begin to flesh it out, live it out. We be renewed in the spirit of our mind. That word renewed is the Greek word ananeo. It means to renovate or to reform, to make young. Again, it comes from the word, ananeo, youthful, stemming from the word meaning youthful, of things fresh. We need to step into the freshness, the youthfulness, the youngness, the freshness, the youthfulness of the new man, the new creation, the new self. And we are being renewed in the spirit of our minds. And we are being renewed within. The Spirit of God is bringing the realities, the realities of the truth of the Word, of His realities within us. And as we begin to see, as we begin to be renewed, made fresh again, fresh to the freshness of the perspective of the reality of the truth revealed to us in an ongoing process of revelation, of renewing, of making new, fresh, youthful, fresh revelation, fresh understanding, that as we continue down that path, we're actually putting on the new self, which is created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. We're partakers of Him. We're beginning to walk out a union with Christ, our life, our true life, which is Christ in us, the hope of glory. You know, He is our life. He is the new creation, in the new creation self. The new creation man is Christ in you and in me. That's the new creation man. We are putting that on. In other words, we're walking that out, that reality. It's becoming it's dawning. The dawning of revelation there is a revelation dawning upon us over and over. An increase of the dawning of the revelation of the reality of that is dawning upon our conscious minds, our heart, that we are putting it on and actually walking that reality out, that fleshing it out. The word, the reality of the word of truth is becoming flesh, if you will, on earth, so that we can walk with him and demonstrate, allow his life to flow through us in demonstration. Friends, chew on that nugget. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind.